mentioned on us before about MMA fighters. They have a tendency to increase their work capacity without training their nervous system. Is there a particular, without giving away any of your secrets, I guess, method or application that you see, if, like, for someone who has to plan for an actual scheduled fight to peak at that time, for looking out for that nervous capacity, like, say, it can come on very quickly? Are there any other kind of signs or ways of structuring the workouts that you?
What I said exactly is that MMA fighters have work capacity, a physical work capacity that far exceeds their nervous system efficiency. So basically they can just kill their nervous system because they don't fatigue themselves and they just keep going and going and going and going. They never learn to relax the nervous system and fire it up. So it really has to be trained over a certain period of time. It's not something you can do like the week before a fight. What you have to do is, with the training methods you select, you have to work on having the nervous system go on and off, on and off, on and off. So complexes like complexes of like brief periods of really, really, really intense nervous work, then short rest where the nervous system is like relaxed, but the body's still active, then fire the nervous system again. That's where active rest is really cool. For example, you use a CNS intense activity and you follow it up by active rest. Then intense nervous activity, active rest. Intense neural activity, active rest. And over time, you decrease the rest intervals. So it's going to be intense, intense rest, intense, intense rest. So eventually, the nervous system will become as conditioned as the energy system. In other words, it will recover on the short term as fast as the muscle and energy systems. But it takes some time to get used to that because, again, they have work capacity, physical work capacity that's so high that it will take some time for the nervous system to catch up. And the natural tendency would be to add more work capacity stuff because in MMA, the current trend is that if you're not puking or crying at the end of the workout, you're not training hard. And that actually plays against them because they don't have a high quality of nervous training because at the end, they're just going on autopilot. So if at the start, like the early prep period, they would need to focus on activities where the nervous system is worked intensely with longer rest intervals. And as they get better and better at using the nervous system efficiently, then the rest period will decrease. So,
still, it really got me thinking because as I've watched certain amateur and even following pro fighters, you can see as they progress in their career, it's almost like they lose the explosiveness to their power. Most of them do. It's like, but they can go, they just kind of keep going when they're training, but it's like they're losing that sharpness to their explosiveness.
Regarding fights, I will actually use yourself this morning as example. One thing happened to fighters, and actually that has to be trained, but you can't use a specific method for that. When you are under a stressful condition, you always hear it goes much faster than usual. And if you didn't learn to control your nervous system, then you will burn yourself out and your technique will suffer. So that will also happen in the ring, in that if it's going too fast here, your technique is not as good, and because it's not as good, you will kill the nervous system and you're not efficient. So you really have to learn to stay cool. Be able to amp up when needed, but fuel down when needed also. I remember that like Naim Soleimanoglu was also an Olympic weightlifter. Just to show you how stressed he was before a contest, like an hour and a half before he was scheduled to lift at the Olympic, which is a pretty high level contest, he was in charge of watching the luggage of his teammates. Well, 2 hours before the contest, he fell asleep on his watch and the luggage got stolen. That's how stressed he was. So that actually when good athletes manage stress well. And the same thing goes with training. You have to learn to be amped up and then almost fall asleep. Amped up, autopilot. You have to learn that. So short bouts of really intense activity relatively long rest period, and as you progress in training, you shorten the rest intervals and you replace them by active recovery.